And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlog... Sorry. Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because I forgot my damned hat. And there was a good reason for that. It's my Bride for Roswell hat. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Part of this is follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. Ain't that case this time. I'm known as Shujin Tribble. I'm your main host for the evening. I can be pretty much found everywhere under that name. If you have a problem spelling it, it's S-H-U-J-I-N. If you have a problem with Tribble, talk to Callie Wright, because right now I can't talk, apparently, and I'm drinking coffee. Only coffee tonight. Reason for that.
Would you like to borrow my vodka?
No.
How about my rum?
No.
I heard a dirty rumor they're not making Bacardi. Bacardi's not making 151 anymore, so it's like, ooh, I've got a bottle of it.
Why?
I don't know. Like I said, it's a dirty rumor. I don't know if it's true or not.
I don't know. We'll figure it out anyway here.
But it is a big search on Google.
I'll take your word on that one. Who's having a problem spelling? I can't talk tonight. That's my problem. I don't know why. We'll figure it out. Top left-hand corner of the North American bingo card. Hi, Dalan.
Hello. Good evening.
How the hell are you?
Not too bad.
Better than last night, right?
Well,
we were both a little kind of.
That's true.
Ooh, did get discontinued.
No, but today I had to turn in my I actually got my old AF card today.
Old as fuck.
Yep.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, we have a new world record on the show. Well done, man. Yeah. Well done.
Anyways,
cheers.
No, the old paper's been giving me some grief lately. I'm trying to figure out why. So I went to the optometrist today, and they said, "Yeah, your prescription, it ain't quite working." So within 7 to 10 business days, so within the next week or so, these will be going goodbye, and I'll be saying hello to progressives, the lenses, not the ideology.
I got you.
I was thinking of the car insurance.
Actually, I was kind of thinking, 7 to 10 business days, that's normally considered, after the conversion across the border, is that one Canadian week? Is that why you're stretching it from up to 10 days? Because
no, I'm just quoting what they told me.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, so by the time I get back from my my next trip next week, I should have them by then, so we shall see. But yeah, there is one small thing about progressive lenses, though. For the amount I paid for those things, I could almost have bought a computer.
Yeah.
Like they are. I had no idea. Like, oh yeah, here we have our nice lenses, and these are the perfect ones for you. I'm like, okay, how much? Thinking, oh, maybe I'll get a nice pair of shades too. Maybe look at some contacts. Yeah, one pair, $900.
Ooh.
Oh.
Now that was for like that's for the Cadillac lenses. The Nikon lenses. The ones that are apparently just as good as the lens of a camera. And while I will admit, a good investment into your eyes is a good thing, but
yeah, that was a bit much, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I did end up. They had a second line, which was not quite Nikon, maybe Canon. I don't know. They were quite a bit less, and turns out my insurance kicked in for a portion of it. So yeah, but still, ow.
Yeah, don't you be ragging on Canon? You know Canon's the one that I got.
I know. I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Just Nikon, whatever,
Minolta. Some people don't remember Minolta. I did. I've still got my freaking tank of a SRT 101.
Yeah. Okay. Look. Yeah. Okay. They also said they had a house brand that I could have called Kodak, but
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I chose the middle of the road. I was thinking, the house brand sounds nice and everything, and it has all the same warranty and everything like that. But at the same time, Okay, you know, okay, so that much money, and then they like, you know, melt after, you know, I go down to Oklahoma one time and the sun just melts them, and you know, yeah. So yeah. Hello, I'm old.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Welcome.
Yeah, so it's a choice. Be able to see 32 core something process. Yeah, it's kind of a hard choice at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, look, the 32 core, I will wait at least 6 months after Cyberpunk 2700 comes out before I buy it, or 2077.
Can't say I blame you. Midwest of the US. Good evening, Brigid.
Good evening.
You having fun with all this now?
Oh yeah, I got progressive lenses years ago.
No, I was thinking more along the lines of the fact that you're like awake now.
Oh well, semi. I haven't had any caffeine, so
She brought cookies.
That's true.
yeah, I've got
That's true.
cookies.
We'll tell you about that in a minute. Outside of oh wow, I got kicked out of a restaurant. Evening, UnrenownedTech. You having yourself a great time today?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm kind of on the fence about the whole kicked out of the restaurant thing. Part of me goes, you know, it's a public-facing thing. You know, it's we talk about how it's inappropriate to kick somebody out due to their sexuality. Again, it's, you know, inappropriate to kick them out based on their political stance. But at the same time, here we have a public figure who is supposed to be a liaison for the president, not a defender, who has compromised the office that she actually holds in many ways. And in my opinion, the public officials need to be reminded that we pay their salary, that they're there to serve us, not service us. And by refusing service, it is a reminder of a privately owned business of, hey, you're not doing your job right. We're not ready to serve you until you start doing it right. So like I said, I was kind of borderline on that whole thing. But I cannot lie. A part of me was really enjoying the Schadenfreude on that one.
Well, and from my understanding on that, the reason why she threw her out was she has a whole bunch of employees that are LGBT. And with all the bashing that she's done on LGBT people, yeah, they wanted her gone.
Now, the part that pissed me off about the whole thing is that she should have used her personal or private Twitter account to talk about that, because it wasn't done in an official capacity. And yet she used her government official account for that shit. That pisses me off.
Well, Trump does it all the time.
Trump's an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, his IQ is less than a rock.
Well, all right. Now we're not going to let you go ahead and talk smack about
rocks.
Well, I was going to say
I'm complimenting a rock. They're smarter than Trump.
No, I was going to say Gestalt, but I don't think German is really the way to go on this one. So,
if I remember correctly, Trump's heritage actually his background of his family is from Germany, and considering mine come from Poland on my mother's side, I have some feelings about that.
Yeah, as the Italian in the group, No, we're not going to do this. There's a railroad thing.
In an apology to Germany, I do not think that just because somebody has German heritage means that they're a bad person. There are bad persons with all different heritages. I just think Trump is a bad person. Period.
Fair enough. We got folks just joined us. So I'm going to get to them in just a couple seconds.
His hair looks great.
We'll get there. But Joseph from Paris.
Wow.
Good morning.
That's what I was talking about. Joseph's hair, or Joey. Never mind.
Joey.
You guys.
Good.
One at a time. Joseph was in first. Good morning, Paris.
Good morning. And Joey's hair does indeed look great.
You know,
See, there you go.
It's like pull and forget. Fine. Good morning, Joey.
enjoy it while it lasts, because I'm getting a haircut here shortly.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Completely manageable for me.
Yeah, well, look at the brights
in the back.
Well, we won't look at the back.
We'll try that too.
Well,
Yeah.
I think looking at the back of my head probably would be kind of counterproductive to the idea of the show.
Yes, a very good point.
But if we want to see both, we could just put a mirror behind him, and then we could see the front and the back at the same time.
Yeah, nobody needs that kind of level of vanity. Joey, as far as the microphone, are you talking through like a mic on the screen or something?
I should be talking through the boom, but let me check, because I apparently cleared my cache. Oh yeah, it's actually going through my.
Yeah, it's going through something else.
There we go. How about now?
Oh, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Nice.
Wait till you hear. Yeah, wait till you hear the playback later and go, yeah, that's not right.
No, I had to clear my cache. I believe yesterday morning or the evening before. I don't know, but
we usually do that at the
back. It reset everything as far as like settings and password saving and all that crap. So
fair enough. Alrighty. Well, now that we got everybody set up over here, thank you very much, everybody. And of course, for those of you that are watching live right now, thank you very kindly. Of course, use the live chat somewhere on the I don't care where it is on your screen, because on me, it's over there. See, for those of you that are listening, that doesn't mean jack squat, but you know what? It makes for great TV. Whatever. Don't worry about it. So over in the live chat, yeah, I saw somebody kind of popped in briefly at the top of everything. Ignore the pony behind the curtain over there. There's a thing. Maybe I'll explain it later if anybody really asks. So who's over there? Katya, Trippin, Stephanie. Good enough for me right now. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, take advantage of the live chat. And what did you take a look over there and see what happened?
I did, in fact, take a look over there and see what happened. And
yeah. This is what happens when several accounts try to use the same computer simultaneously.
Oh, I know. I sent an email. I sent an email to a coworker with the wrong email address, and they kind of looked at me funny and went, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, pseudonym.
Yeah, I know exactly the feeling.
Yeah. Better than an antonym.
No.
The anthem would at least got a chuckle. This got me a creepy look.
Yeah, see, I've sort of got that problem because, believe it or not, the gnome that I use of Shujin Tribble is actually recognized by the post office up over here, where they're just like, is this you? Yeah, it's a nickname that I use for stuff online. Okay, fine. Anything that comes my works out good that way.
Which is surprising because my roommate has a lot of trouble getting stuff, which they use a different name online through which they do all their Etsy stuff and whatnot, and understandable. They care about their privacy. They also care about personal protection because they don't have the most.
Anyway, going on.
Well, yeah, just domestic issues in the past. It's an issue. So, but the post office, at least the post office here, gives them a lot of hassle over it.
That's too bad.
Yeah,
which is why they ended up putting my name, my real name, because it's the only name I use, as the care of for all of those.
Yeah, I think part of it is that I'm out in the sticks comparatively, and whatever, just whatever. At least they know full well the address is right. The name, okay. So works out good. Considering that we're the only ones that have ever had an address at this location, I don't think it's I don't think it's far fetched for them to go, well, it's not like you're getting somebody else's mail because it's addressed to the right address.
Yeah,
I've done that.
Yeah, because before we had the house here, this was farmland. How do I know? Because there is still a piece of rusty barbed wire fence wrapped up on the corner of the plot.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, we're behind schedule, but that's okay. It's gonna be a little bit of a partially fun night, partially disappointing night. I'll explain in a couple of moments. So let me just go ahead and get everything rolling over here. So with 5 minutes on the clock for you guys, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. This week, OTR. And before anybody goes ahead and tries to figure out what is this TLA, TLA is a 3-letter acronym. At least it was a TLA, and it wasn't a ETLA, which is an extended 3-letter acronym. There's also the HETLA, which is the hyper-extended 3-letter acronym. You see where this is going, because it's not going to have any kind of impact on the rest of the everything, the rest of it all. In this case, OTR is old time radio. I have got still CDs. Now, I had bought several of these Jack Benny CDs from Hamfests over the years, which these days I really don't have to, because I mean, archive.org, I think it is, has got, pretty much everything, and various podcasts have restreamed them and everything. And there are two things about it that I kind of got to thinking about this week. One of which is the idea of the technology that we're using for them these days. Considering that Jack Benny, yes, some people remember who he is, and some people only know him because of me, and you're welcome for that. Yeah, he's his first CD I've got him from as early as 1932, and his very first on air was, "Hello, this is Jack Benny speaking. There will be now a pause while you all say, who's that?" And who only knew that he would be on the air for 30 years, pretty much at the top of his game for the vast majority of it. But the technology that we've used over the years for especially old time radio, man, now, of course, digital downloads, all the rage. The kids are doing it. Ask the kids; they'll explain it to you. Before that, of course, like I was saying, CDs, optical media. Before that, I had, and what kind of got me started on the kick was, believe it or not, just good old-fashioned audio tape cassettes in my car. When I would drive like an idiot on a Friday night after working most of the day and up until 8 o'clock at night, and I would drive from Long Island to outside of Buffalo all night with no FM radio coverage in some sections of the state. So I bought old-time radio cassettes, stuff like Abbott and Costello and Ed Wynn, George and Gracie, and there was Jack Benny on one of those. So I kind of got the bug with it from that. Now, audio tape is, all well and good. About the only thing that was automatic on that particular car was the reverser on that cassette player. But I thought back onto it, and it's like, okay, how far back does it go? Well, they were transcribed onto platters of vinyl, literally cut into them. And even on top of that, there were magnetic wire. Yeah, you heard me right. Coiled wire. Kind of like guitar strings, the really thick ones, where, you got the one piece of metal down the middle and you got to coil around it. And they would magnetize that and they would read it back the same way as you would with audio tape and records. And it's so funny to think back on how much things have changed over the decades and almost century in some cases for some of this stuff. But one thing that hasn't really changed is the comedy. Yeah, there's a lot of pieces that are, they're time dependent. You kind of have to know who Mayor LaGuardia was. A little short angry man that he was, mayor of New York once upon a time, the one that they named LaGuardia Airport after. Yes, he was the mayor of New York City. So, you know, if you don't know some of these pieces, yeah, some of the jokes kind of go past your head. All right. But a lot of this comedy, man, still holds up 70 years later for no other reason other than it's just about the human condition. And that's one of the things I love about it. In some ways, it's so innocent. In other ways, it's absolutely timeless. And right now, sometimes these days, a lot of that timeless humor is exactly what we need to offset all of the pressure. This episode 216 on the docket, Your Honor. Argue honestly. Now, we've talked on many an occasion about, you know, logical fallacies and arguing honestly. And if you're going to talk on a subject, at least be, you know, fair about it. And it's been a little while since we've done it. And Dalan and I were talking last night during our show and kind of thinking, all right, what are we going to talk about? Because don't really want to go into the whole dumpster fire that's been going on, but I want to have at least something that's worthwhile. I actually seriously considered a bring your own bitch fest tonight, but this seemed to be a better idea because I've had to deal with the tu quoque argument all over the freaking place. And that's kind of what prompted it, because I kept going over to, you know, your logical fallacy is .com. And some people were really not liking that. And to them I say, oh, well, if the shoe fits, you know, suck on the toe, man. So
yeah, get good.
Effectively, yeah.
Yeah.
But so we're gonna kind of go through some of that. If you want to follow along with a couple of pieces, you might want to open up a separate tab on your browser right now and go open up yourlogicalfallacyis.com. It's over in the show notes already if you want to go ahead and do it that way. But of course, as usual, before I get everything rolling over here, and forgive me, my eyes are getting a little off on me at the moment. But unfortunately, I don't have any news as far as Rafe Badawi is concerned for this week. I did see that his wife is off doing something off west, I think is where it was. I could be wrong. Forgive me, I didn't write it down. I kind of saw it. And I didn't really pay close enough attention. It came across on Twitter, and it just, I saw it, and then it was gone. It was like, well, I'm a little bit busy, such is. But unfortunately, we have no new good news in particular. So as of the recording of tonight's show, that now means that we are currently 6 years, 7 days since Rafe Badawi was unjustly incarcerated for thought crime. Our hopes and our thoughts are still with you and your family. We're still waiting on you. And for what it's worth, on the bright side, ladies are going to be driving, man. We're talking about that. Thank you for that. So anyway, let me really quickly explain and do. Am I pronouncing it right? I always screw it up. Is tu quoque? I forget which way it's pronounced. You're
asking the wrong guy.
Yeah, I know. And the funny part of it is I actually wrote it down on Facebook for myself, so I'm kind of whatever. And my eyes are not playing nice.
Yeah,
I think it's tu quoque.
Tu quoque. Okay. Latin was not my subject. Anyway. Oh, by the way, before I forget, the hat. Today was the Ride for Roswell for Roswell Park Cancer Institute. The Ride for Roswell fundraiser out of Second Life. We earned, when all is said and done, after everybody got their cut of the pie, thanks, guys, we end up with approximately $390 USD. I say approximately because there's an extra 88 cents left over you'll forgive me if I end up keeping the 88 cents. Just because it'll keep all the numbers even.
Yeah. Plus, you got to pay tier and all that.
No. When all is said and done. Besides, as it was, I actually rounded up slightly the amount in Second Life, so I kind of feel like that's close, close enough. Anyway, so as soon as I've got the word that the money made its way into my PayPal account, that will be going to the team's coffers. So all of you that helped out with that, no matter how, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we did not go out to ride. Last night when I was looking over the weather reports, we were looking at about 10 p.m. local. The National Weather Service was saying showers, rain, and thunderstorms with a 90% certainty. And that's the point where I said, you know what? No, I will do rain. I will even do moderate rain. I will not do lightning. It turned out that we didn't have thunderstorms. So I made the call early because 90% certainty. Yeah, I'm willing to go with 90% certainty. Things changed. So we didn't go to ride. I kind of feel bad about it, but as I've said before, they get their money. And ultimately, that's the most important part of it all. So I've got my hat, and we will be doing our thing from there. Anyway, so tripping. Thanks. Just digging the couch for 12 cents. Yeah, that's no, that's not gonna happen. I don't have any pocket change in the couch. Trust me. All right. So tu quoque, whatever it is, Latin. It's basically the appeal to hypocrisy, otherwise known as, well, Jimmy did it first, so I should be allowed to do it, right? Yeah, no, that doesn't work. The argument has been used ad nauseum right now. Sorry?
May I interject? Yes, it's not tu quoque. It's not quite that. It's accusing your accuser of doing the same thing and justifying it that way.
Well, yes, and
that's it. It's like kettle calling kettle black, basically.
No, I got you, and I thought that I was close enough. All right, you're quite right.
Sorry.
No. That's. I don't mind being corrected, as long as you did it right, which you did. So don't sweat it. But the argument has been made, and forgive me, I'm going to try to steer as far away as I can get away with from the really hot button stuff, which is the border immigration policies that are in effect currently here in the United States. We're not going to go into debating any of that part. I want everybody to know ahead of time. I really don't want to be doing that because like a lot of other people, it's just become too damn mind-numbing. So we're not going to be dealing with that. We're dealing specifically with in this particular case, the argument that's been coming up time and time again, which is, well, Obama was doing it, so why are you arguing? Why are you complaining now?
Two wrongs don't make a right.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
and
the thing is, we were complaining back in the day too, or they were complaining as much as we are complaining now. Like, and what? No, like really, to quote Henry Rollins, it's just this. It's the same mouthful of mouthwash sloshing over to the other side. Whatever. Like if they want to point something and say, "Well, Obama did it." Well, yeah, and you yelled and screamed as much as we're yelling and screaming now. So, what has changed? Spoiler: nothing.
Yeah, and
and also Obama to do. Why is it okay for Trump to do?
and you'll find that I think a lot of the accusations coming from the left, that they're demonstrably justified, whereas Obama accusations weren't.
Yeah.
I mean, there was all sorts of
too.
delusional paranoia coming from the right.
Yeah, there's
Hillary's pizza parlor.
or
anything involving Alex Jones.
Yeah, there's
I actually read something somewhere where he was actually treated seriously, like where he is an actual voice for the so-called right side of history. And I'm thinking, this is the guy that yells and screams about something being put in the water to make frogs gay. He's a believer in chemtrails. He chases after every single conspiracy theory, like a dog chasing another dog in heat. Need I bring up Sandy Hook? I saw a documentary on that, and I really wanted to dust off the old binder I've got on the bookshelf here about creating the bitch slap over IP protocol. Because, man alive, I wanted to reach through the monitor, and I wanted to leave a lasting impression on his face. Let's just put it that way. Before we get flagged and everything else. I'm not condoning violence against anybody, ladies and gentlemen, but at the same time, some people just stick their noses out way too far.
Yeah, there's a thing about this whole, which is you don't even have to deal with the the current crisis, humanitarian crisis that's been going on. We can go back here in the U.S. in particular, because I know about this far more than any other. And you forgive me, I kind of live here, so that I'm a little bit biased on this angle. I remember hearing, over the past couple of administrations, where it's flip-flopped back and forth between one side saying, well, you're not allowed to do this because you're not allowed to. And the other side's going, well, we're just doing what you did. What's your problem?
Yeah.
And then things change and the mirror goes back up and everybody changes seats and it's back and forth and back and forth. The problem of it is incredibly, monstrously dishonest. And I've heard the best takedown in a very small sentence. The best takedown that I've heard so far, and it came from a buddy of mine that I knew back from high school. And I have no idea if you're watching or listening, but Carl, damn, you called it. The takedown of it is, yeah, and it was wrong then too.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. We have a lot of, not everybody, we have a lot of people who are simply hammering on this item over and over and over again because they think that it's the end-all be-all argument, and not understanding that they sound like a petulant 7-year-old wanting to stay up late. When you got more than one kid, well, how come he gets to stay up until 10 o'clock? I mean, I wasn't allowed to stay up until 10 o'clock when I was his age. Well, things have changed. You get the idea. It kind of works around several different ways. But this is one that's really driven me up a wall, because I can go through my Facebook feed and I can see it over and over and over and over and over. And the thing that hurts the most is it's people who are associated with people I know who are making the argument, because they just keep hammering away. And I don't want to say that they're just in their own little bubble, but they're kind of in their own little bubble. And that's the thing that hurts the most, because then the people that I know who see it have to know and realize full well, yeah, these people aren't the nicest people. So feel free to jump in at any point, because I know for well that we're going to end up talking about a couple of these other fallacies, because, well, we might as well hit a couple of them, because I ain't going to spend the whole night trying to pronounce something in Latin, because god damn, it's not going to happen.
I think one of the biggest fallacies I've been seeing lately is the no true Scotsman. I mean, it is coming up left, right, and center all over the place these days. Like, there is a certain group of people out there that are, well, I mean, I'll just say it. There's some on the extreme left right now that are, if you listen to them, it almost sounds like they are advocating a full communist state. And as anybody knows, well, no socioeconomic model we can ever dream of ever works perfectly because of the human factor. Humanity is fallible. But to hear a lot of these people talk, it's like, oh, well, you know, Stalin and them, they weren't true communists. I've actually heard this.
Well, let's be fair. I don't know anybody who actually was.
Right. But the thing is, for some idealistic person to basically, in order for communism to work as perfectly as the model suggests, it would actually require a global shift overnight. It would have to be all points hit all at the same time, to the point that there is no governing bodies anymore. Because that's what the whole idea is that there's no governing body, but everybody still works towards the common goal. But as soon as you put together, let's say, a team of people who would say be in charge of resource distribution, you know, because everything works for the greater good, but then everybody has to benefit. If crops are all going into a central hub from which people are then to feed from, well, then someone would have to administer that place to make sure that the food is distributed equally. But then now you have someone who is an administrator, who is therefore a leader, someone to look forward to. Boom, the model falls apart. But people will still say, oh, that's not true communism. No, but nobody here was a true communist. You know, I know what a true communist is. You didn't know what color your frickin' shoelaces were this morning because you were so frickin' stoned. These are just some of the people I'm hearing this from. People who are just completely not connected to reality. And even people on the right, you talk about capitalism, like, oh, well, you know, America's not true capitalist or anything like that. And it's like no true socioeconomic model on its own will ever stand and ever work. Because of the human factor, there has to be a blend. But nobody wants to hear that these days.
Will it blend?
Yeah. Joe, for what it's worth, I think you got to move the microphone. I think you're breathing across your mic. Just lift it up a little bit.
Either that or he's reacting to what I said with absolute disdain.
It could be. That works. Thanks, Swin. Anyway, and we'll see how this plays out. Joseph, a little bit better for you at this point?
It's open.
I guess we'll see what happened. Joseph had to disappear for a couple of moments. He was having a connection issue, which is kind of funny because he posted that he was getting really good downlink speeds. So I don't know. Let's see what's going on. So, for those of you that were trying to figure it out, by the way, No True Scotsman is No True Scotsman wears underwear under his kilt. I guess is what that's the way it works, right, Brigid? You not even bothering at this point, are you?
Yeah. Well, do they?
I can't say for certain.
I've never peeped. I don't know.
I can only say as far as I only know from the song, and if that's to be believed, that is correct.
Yeah, I think the only Scotsman I could ever get close to asking, he'd probably respond like, "Well, why don't you come over here and find out?"
Oh,
That
good.
was actually pretty good.
Well, you could ask Dave Fitzgerald if he does.
I don't know him well enough, but
I'll ask him. Next time I see him, I might even peep. I wouldn't do that.
Folks, if you'd like to contribute to Brigid's apparently need for additional alcohol for the show, please remember that's Brigid Fitch, 1300 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York, 14222. Dial carefully and good luck. It's been a long time. I almost couldn't get that one out this time.
I'm really regretting not getting that ginger beer I was going to buy this weekend.
Anyway, no. The no true Scotsman fallacy is very simply, no true Scotsman would do X. Well, O'Malley over there, he's a Scotsman and he does X. He's no true Scotsman.
Yeah,
that's as far as I go. I'm Italian. I don't know.
Okay, well, and how many times has Heretic Woman run into this one with like, oh, they're not real Muslims?
Yep. All you got to do is take a listen to some of the past episodes. No true. What was it? No true Imam.
Yeah,
or whatever the name is for the.
Yeah. We don't listen to those imams who make that translation of the Quran because they've been tainted by the West. Translation, they're not saying what we need them to say.
Or want.
No, yeah. I would say at this point need. Because they have a narrative that needs to be followed, like just about any other ideology out there these days. And anyone who is even tangentially aligned with those idealists who speaks so much as 1 degree out of turn, they're not true to the faith, as it were.
Yep, and that's another one that's been popping up. How can you be Christian and not be moved by the sounds of these kids that are in cages? Well, they're a Christian and they're no true Christian. And yeah, you've been hearing this one, whether you like it or not. You've been hearing it. It's been going around, and it gets to be more fun because I've talked about this one before. I've actually heard from people who have said, Catholics aren't Christians because they're Catholics. They're not a true Christian. Yeah, you might want to go back through this argument again because you're doing that one because they're Christian. Trust me. No, Catholics aren't Christian. Whatever.
Wasn't it the whole thing about the Virgin Mary or something like that? Again, I don't know Catholicism that well, so
yeah. There's a few different avenues of that approach. I've heard it said because you worship the Virgin Mary, and or some people like to say that it's polytheistic because of all the saints and whatnot. But yeah.
See, the Roman Catholics, they got a special way of dealing with it. They don't talk to God. They don't even talk to Jesus. They talk to Mom because Mom gets shit done. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
Nope.
You're talking about the Mother Mary?
Exactly. Yep.
Well, she only became popular around the 12th century.
It doesn't matter. That's what's going on now, man.
Regardless of when it became popular, it's the fact that it did.
They changed mascots.
And I wonder why. That's an interesting history point, I think.
It's just it happened without the Vatican having any control over it. They just noticed that all of the mostly peasants they had an affection for one of the saints, which was it was kind of a trend that they noticed, and then of course they began to exploit.
Well, yeah, because if you can turn a trend into profit, or in this case, profit spelt with a PH.
Tech. Tech, both?
Sure.
Both. Yeah, both. Both, Dalan. Yeah, both.
With an L. Both with an L.
What?
Never mind.
There's not enough of one chemical or another flowing through my body at this point for that.
The way he was saying both.
I am either not caffeinated nor drunk enough.
Yeah, even from the completely sober side of the spectrum, I didn't get it.
I don't. You know what? Fine.
We're taking the wrong thing, I think.
I was going to say that they can't all be zingers.
No.
Doesn't matter.
That's okay. So, yeah.
It's not relevant. The L is not relevant.
I do find that interesting that that the Vatican actually shifted because of public opinion.
Well, they were so busy. If you look at the history, they were so busy pushing like certain saints on the people. People do tend to have a mind of their own when they don't like being manipulated. So, and I'm not sure what it was about the Virgin Mary, but it was that was appealing to the peasants. But anyways, it just began to catch on.
Yeah.
Well, Stephanie's got something interesting over here. Stephanie's saying just about when the Europeans were finally forced to replace Freya, etc., they turned to Mother Mary, and it's listed as a question mark. So it's kind of
that.
It's a good point.
Okay, that sparks. Yeah, that plays because I forgot the whole
replace one saint with another.
Yeah, the Saturnalia. Oh yeah, Christmas is like that too. Yeah, we have gifts and stuff and you got the evergreen thing. Yeah. Christmas trees. That's part of our stuff too. Yeah.
It's like just a continuation of the Christian finger in every cake campaign.
Yeah. There's another piece about it too. Knowing full well that there's a saint for everything. And before you go ahead and tell me no, there isn't, there's a patron saint for television. Okay, so don't give me squat. It was somebody who was having fever-induced hallucinations and saw pictures on a wall.
Who brought that up about Freya?
That was as far as she put. It was listed.
It was somebody on the chat who wrote that.
Stephanie did.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I never thought about it. Maybe it wasn't Freya, but maybe it was another pagan god.
That's the thing is what a lot of people's arguments saying that Catholicism is really pagan. It goes back to the whole very early days of the church when Christianize all the kingdoms.
Yeah,
and they doctored things around a bit. I mean, if I remember correctly, the birth of Christ was supposedly, sometime further in the spring rather than in the middle of
May,
late December, and that got changed around to accommodate those who practiced Yuletide and such, and.
They didn't decide on Christmas either. That also happened around the 11th, 12th century.
It's a lot of it was a lot of give a little here, take a little there, for many centuries before we ended up with the idea of Christianity that we have today.
Yeah. Yes, the early Christian church, the Borg of theology.
Yeah. And you're talking about patron saint for everything, and oh my god, the best quote in the world.
Oh, I was going to ask if you had actually done a quick Google search and pulled up like a list of them.
No. Just I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure they don't have a patron saint of premature ejaculation, but I hear it's coming quickly.
Now I have history of the entire world, I guess, stuck in my head.
You're welcome.
Is it legal to love Jesus yet?
Yeah,
No.
I've linked that one before. So, drop a note into our chat so I remember to relink that again, because that was too good not to. But yeah, now see the thing about there being a patron saint for freaking everything, and I do not exaggerate. You can find a patron saint in the Roman Catholic Church for damned near everything, and there are overlaps. There are multiples for it.
So is
But,
Mother? Okay, go ahead.
Hold that thought 1 second. I believe part of the rationale of it is because these patron saints are real people from all over the Catholic Church's domain. So there is a patron saint not very far away from wherever it is that you lived, and they are the patron of whatever church nearby. And you can find that these days locally in like I don't know, there's I forget what they would typically be, but there are Roman Catholic churches that are like Saints Thomas and Josephus. I don't, whatever the hell it is. You know where I'm going.
But remind me, what's the patron saint of masturbation?
I don't know, but I'll get a handle on that one as soon as I can for you. What was it you were going to say, Dalan?
I was just wondering, like, I know they've been working on deifying or getting a sainthood bestowed upon Mother Teresa.
Yeah, fuck that noise. Sorry. Sorry.
No, hold on. There could be something to that. She could be the patron saint of BDSM, or the patron saint of torture porn, or the patron saint of malpractice.
Joseph, apparently there is no patron saint of masturbation because masturbation is a sin. However, Saint Drogo is the patron saint of unattractive people.
Not my saint.
You're kidding. There is actually a patron saint of unattractive people.
Does that really surprise anybody? There's a saint for everything, or a god, or a minor deity for everything. I mean, think about it.
Well, everything.
Does that any of that surprise you?
Hey,
my point. Sorry.
I was just going to say, you got Saint Augustine of Hippo, who is the patron saint of addiction.
Addicts. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to help them. Yeah. Yeah, because most of the saints seem to be geared around, claiming credit for positive things, or exploiting vulnerabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, both of those categories.
Yeah, and maybe
like the extended hand, because what you did there, it was God who's responsible for that. So actually, you have to pay us.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just really quickly just did a search for what did I write it up as? List of Roman Catholic saints. Google gave me a box to start it off with that says, according to Wikipedia, A, because it's broken down by name and it started off with A. It gave me a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to start off with. The first one is Adrian of Nicomedia, the patron saint of arms dealers, butchers, guards, and soldiers. And that's the first one.
We won our cut.
Yeah. So yeah, when I say that there is a patron saint for everything, there is a patron saint for everything.
Wow.
And non-masturbation.
Again, as stated, you can't have a patron saint for a sin. Oh, wait a minute. Murder is a sin too.
But remember, if it's murder in the name of God,
that's legal.
It's
according to the Bible.
okay. And anyways, you'll be forgiven.
Saint Apollonia. Saint Apollonia.
There's not even a patron saint for
Saint of dentists.
I got a worse one. I can't believe it. Okay, again, in this top 6, the Saint Alexius, Alexius, the patron saint of nurses. Okay, see, I'm doing this with Brigid.
Mm-hmm.
Patron saint of nurses, and what do you think would be the supporting item of nurses for patron saint? Just off the top of your head.
Stethoscopes? I don't know.
You're close. It's it is something that is worn by some nurses.
A hat?
You're closer.
Yeah, you are closer. Yeah, Alexis is the patron saint of nurses and belt makers.
You think that's bad?
Okay.
You think that's bad? Saint Philip.
Is that with an F or a PH?
PH.
Okay.
1 L. No. Yes, 1 L.
Doesn't matter at that point.
The patron saint of pastry chefs and special forces.
How did those go together?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. It's like, that's an awful.
And now I'm reminded of the story we had one Friday night about the composite that they used during World War II that apparently you could bake into muffins and eat, and it was perfectly fine up until you put a charge through it.
Yeah, now I can get away with saying that I understand this one because my father-in-law was in the army and he was a chef. So I can get that one. I can get behind that one. It didn't make any sense.
Or did he have something that looked like a extruder or salad shooter for pastries?
Now, see, Ron Popeil's salad shooter. That's exactly who this guy is supposed to be for.
Anyways, we want our cut.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing, we want our cut.
Yeah, it's what it comes down. And by the way, those of you that
we don't want to hear about it, it's bad. But
as George Carlin says, just can't handle money.
I don't know how to pronounce this name. I always screw it up, but YVES.
Eves.
Yeah, St. Eves.
St. Eves, patron saint of lawyers.
Isn't there like a big top 10 about false
lawyers, as in hire a liar, which brings us back to our original topic.
Yes.
if you want.
Yeah.
Well, and that's no, actually that does circle it around perfectly, because that's another thing I've been seeing a lot of lately is not just logical fallacies, but just like some of the claims that people are now accepting as the norm. Like
I'm really getting the impression that a lot of humanity thinks of reality as a concept, that it isn't even real. That
just a brain in a jar, man.
Nobody tests anything against reality.
Well, like this has been the biggest one for me is listening to a lot of like I'm trying to get both sides of stories these days. So I do tend to go sometimes to the right when it comes to media, because I just want to make sure that I've got all the facts before I decide for myself whether or not something is saying is like true, or if they're just lying out their ass.
Don't be ashamed of that.
Yeah, but the trouble is well, yeah, and the trouble is a lot of these right-wing guys now, like the one I always get a problem with are these ones that as soon as you mention the word Planned Parenthood, and the thing is, no, but these guys are now standing behind the whole, just don't worry about Planned Parenthood, because all they're interested in is ripping up apart babies and selling them on the black market.
Doesn't it sound programmed?
It does. It does. And the thing is, these days, it's like, you know what? The fact that you've said that and the fact that it has been disproven over and over and over again, and I know people have hit you upside your fool head with the clue by 4 of truth on that by showing you facts, figures, documents, and everything else to state that what you're saying is a load of crap, but you still double down on it. Yeah. I'm sorry, but to me, your entire spiel up to, like, including everything up to that point, to me is now invalid.
The thing with people,
because they have to make a joke out of it, and it's like, no, sorry, you're done. You're not a you're not a reporter. You're a hack comedian, is what you are.
And when you're talking about people like this, the hardest thing for me is to decide whether they're being genuine about their misconceptions, or because we're talking about honesty. The first thing you have to decide about somebody who's being dishonest is, do they realize they're being dishonest or not? Oh,
I'm pretty sure these guys do. And the thing is, what they're doing is they're pandering to their base, their crowd.
Yeah.
To get dem clicks, dem views, and dem likes from dem dimwits out there who don't get it. Okay. I know. I stretched with the alliteration there. Sorry, but
I was looking for a word too.
Yeah, that damn Daily Wire there. There you go.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like, and it goes back to everything we've talked about, with religion. Like, look, if you're gonna say something like that, prove it. Because I will respect you 1,000 times more if you can show me and prove to me that you're right and I am wrong. I mean, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I mean, hit me in the face with your facts. Like, bukkake me with facts. Ooh. And I will respect you.
But wait, there's another thing. We're talking about logical fallacies and all that.
Yeah.
And there's another type of dishonesty that I'm beginning to loathe, which is selective reality. Make a selection of facts, like somebody who would go to a pine forest and see an oak tree, and they'd indicate the oak tree and to try to tell everyone that this is actually an oak forest.
Yes. And that's why I've been kind of wanting to go and sort of get more sides to everything, because I want to make sure that I'm not dealing with people who are doing that sort of selective fact thing.
But what really bothers me is that people who do this often, don't realize, that they just choose the oak tree to represent their entire reality, because it matches their programming, and that's it.
Yeah.
And really, there's no, if they're not skeptic, they're not even going to look at the rest. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that this thing corresponds to my programming or my survival.
There's
whatever.
Yeah, there's a piece about this that Jess was just talking about that I think is something really both important and, dare I say, terrifying. The point of so much of this stuff can seem to qualify as programmed responses. And that's something that I don't know about the rest of you guys. Yeah, that at first bothers me, but I really hadn't thought of it in those terms, because keep hit with the same stuff over and over and over again from people, even though you've told them, look, it's wrong, and I can prove it to you, and I have proved it to you, and you're still using the same argument.
Yeah. All they worry about is that whatever the rest of their clan is saying. If what they're saying matches up with the rest of their clan's programming, because it's about a bunch of people following a unique survival, quote unquote, survival model, they're going to continue doing that.
That's true.
It would take a while for me to elaborate, but I really think humanity is divided between people who have learned to survive for themselves, like think for themselves, and people who haven't, who are condemned to imitation. And that's why we get all these programmed responses. It's just people who make absolutely no value judgments on themselves, which means that all these arguments we present to them, presenting the facts and asking them to consider the evidence and all that, it's lost on them because they've never learned how to evaluate any situation. They've only learned to imitate.
So that brings up an interesting question. We've at some point or other, we've all had to make an argument, and by argument I mean discuss and banter the merits of a cause or a position. I don't necessarily mean yelling and screaming.
A true, as I learned in Interpersonal Communication 101, a true argument doesn't have the emotional baggage that we Americans show on our television.
At least it shouldn't.
Yeah, it's not supposed to.
Yeah, our argument, that is to say, in the Greek sense.
Correct.
Holy, when did you suddenly become the voice of reason on this group? What the hell happened? How the hell do you know that?
You know, there's
I
a good point. He usually solves things with bullets.
You would be surprised.
I am already.
All right.
I'm not.
I am familiar with, all the Greek philosophers and the original idea of an argument.
Okay. Somebody put in the thing that I have to link us for the epic rap battles of history of the philosophers, because that needs to be in there at this point. That was good. I'm sorry. I did not know that you were specifically familiar. I wasn't specifically familiar with that. So good on you.
That's the wonderful thing about autodidacts. One, if we don't know it, we can figure it out. And two, only autodidacts need to know the word autodidact.
I thought that was a type of flying uber reptile from 65 plus million years ago. I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
If you flap your arms hard enough. And there's also the classical Greek skepticism in relation with the skepticism everybody talks about, uses, applies, adheres to today.
Okay. Well, the
classical Greek skeptic movement, which is kind of interesting, actually.
Clarification purposes, the term autodidact is a noun that refers to an individual who has taken it upon themselves to learn something. They are self-taught, or at least
someone who has a CV that nobody will take seriously.
To quote Mark Twain, "Never let a formal education get in the way of your learning."
Fair enough. Yeah, I later. All right. So the point that I was going to get to. Oh God, I've got too many things running through my head.
I love the interview I had like a couple months ago. I was in front of somebody was asking me to do a web, more than a website for them, actually, an entire network. And I'm sitting in front of them, and I've got this like huge list of past clients and all that. And the guy wouldn't hire me because I didn't have any education. And I'm going like, dude, you've got in front of you, you've got that I've been doing this for years. Society doesn't get autodidacts.
Fair enough. Okay, so the point that I was actually going to be getting to before I was pleasantly educated, thank you, was the question that I'm kind of wondering now. Should we, when we start to get into these discussions, these arguments with people, do you think that it would be worthwhile at this point, or maybe even necessary, to start off by saying, look, I'm willing to have the discussion with you, and I'm open for you to prove stuff to me, and for you to change my mind if you do. Are you open to an information that will have you change your mind? And would you be willing to change your mind if I can prove to you that you were wrong? I'm kind of overstating it a little bit, I think, but at the same time, I'm trying to get the point across correctly. Should we basically throw down the gauntlet as good knights in the quest for truth? And you know how much I hate the term truth.
No, that I hate the term knights and such. You know, too many people try to stand for a cause and end up making absolute utter fools from themselves.
Well, yes, but I was trying to use the image of throwing down the gauntlet or slapping somebody across the face, which if you're going to slap somebody across the face to challenge them to a duel, oh, please use a steel gauntlet. It's so much more satisfying at that point.
I challenge you to a duel.
Nothing like watching Robin Hood Men in Tights.
My brain went there too.
What about a rubber chicken? That's
okay. That's the Rich Little version where Robin Hood is played by Rich Little, who is playing Groucho Marx. No, I'm not. I can't confirm that he used a rubber chicken, but it would fit so well.
Depends on where you stick the rubber chicken.
For those of you that are looking through the show notes and are trying to figure out what is this goof off, trust me, you're gonna love it.
Let's just say if you're going to use it,
I've ever used.
If you're going to use it, make sure you're in a well-ventilated area because
before
I never touched it. I had no idea what I was in for, and it was my first time that I ever had a solvent give me a buzz before, because all the other solvents I had used before were in well-ventilated areas. I can honestly say I hope that never happens again.
Yeah, I use that stuff to pull some metal labels off of a casing that we were installing for. We were installing it at a site, and this label had to come off, and it had to come off perfectly because it was a professional office. And that was when I got introduced to Goof Off for the first time, and it's like I wanted a bottle of that in my house.
Wait a minute. Goof off.
No, Goof Off.
Goof.
Yeah, that's literally what it was called. Goof Off.
The GOOF as in
yes.
Okay.
If you think that's bad, the wax that I use for my glasses, because they're getting on in their years and they've got that nice milky scratched up situation going on.
Yeah, if you'd wind them up more often, you wouldn't have this problem.
The wax that I use is called cat crap.
Well, here's a link to Goof Off real quick from Ace Hardware.
Isn't
I've actually used this.
Isn't there a brand of wax for surfboards called Sex Wax?
Sex Wax.
Yes. Yeah, it came out in the 80s, if memory serves. It made. Oh God, this was okay. Not intentional. It just was the thing that came to me. I was about to say it made a big splash at the time because it was such a edgy thing, and I feel dirty. Okay, the Goof Off that I was thinking of was involved with Weird Al Yankovic. So it's a completely different Goof Off. Okay, because the rubber chicken. So when you see it,
derailed in a hurry.
I have to share this. Just for giggles and shits, I went ahead and put cat crap 2 words into Google search. It comes up with the top of it being the shop for cat crap on Google. And the first 4 are absolute perfect hits.
Please tell me one of them is Civet.
EK Accessories Cat Crap Anti-Fog Lens Cleaner, available at Walmart for $17.95.
We don't get any of that money.
Sundasky.com, same thing for $5.93. Newegg for $9, and the Cat Crap Care Kit for $11.99 from Z&Z Medical.
Try saying that 10 times fast.
But the 5th one, and the last one that shows up just as, the results page comes up, Cat Exercise Wheel, blue, from One Fast Cat, $199. Somebody missed the boat on that one.
Could be just a bit. By the way, Trippin is apparently knows his boogie boards and said Mr. Zog's sex wax. So yes, very good memory. Assuming that it was memory and you didn't cheat and Google that. Knowing, you know what? I could be wrong. I'm maybe Trippin's using Alta Vista. I could be wrong. I don't know. Whatever. Oh, you're old enough. You actually know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Thank you. God, I was getting. Man, I would not get nearly the same reaction if I was going to say that he was looking it up on Archie. Wait, shit. No, Archie was for news groups, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shit. God, it's been too long. Anyway,
I can tell you as soon as I get out my AOL CD.
I will pop you in your whore mouth. You cut that out.
Start up Netscape.
Don't even start with me. Don't.
Well, anyways, the wax.
I was gonna register my Netscape, but I was too busy playing. Shit, what was it called? Mist.
Okay. I gotta say this.
He was going to register while I was buying a licensed copy of WinRAR.
No, guys, I have a Netscape story.
Uh-oh.
I have a legitimate Netscape story from not current year, but not that far in the past.
I'm going to. I'm sorry. I'm going to assume trip Daytona and not Dayton's.
Anyways, I did my first web development using Netscape. I forget what it was called.
Anyways, go on.
The company I used to work for, they had a government deduction thing off of people's paychecks. I can't remember what it was for. I think it was for savings bonds or something. But the idea is that the controller, the accountant, would put together a file that would have the calculations for the deductions for everybody's paycheck who was contributing, and this file would then be uploaded to the Government of Canada's system. Now, the fact that they were actually able to use the internet at that point was nothing short of a miracle because, let's just say the Canadian government is probably still trying to figure out how Vista works. No offense, Joey.
Hey, I jumped ship on that one.
Good on you. Anyways, so the controller's computer crashed hard to the point where it had to be rebuilt, which, as the IT guy, that was my job. So I wheel in the brand new computer. I get it all set up, get her email set up, get everything I could off her old hard drive that was still recoverable. Got up and running, took about 6 hours. Not a bad part of the day. But then she comes to me and says, "Oh, I've got a problem." Okay. Yeah, I can't upload these files to the Government of Canada for the savings bond thing. I'm like, okay, why is that? The year is 2008. And the requirement was a version of Netscape.
What?
No other browser could be used to perform this file upload because of the proprietary sense of security that the Government of Canada had at that time.
Not without reason, though.
What?
Because the alternative.
Yes.
The alternative.
Where could you find? Yeah, cute one. But where could you find a Netscape browser back in those days?
No.
Short answer, you couldn't, because the Netscape site, as far as I could find, didn't exist at that point because I looked. I ended up.
What year was this?
I think it was early 2000s.
Okay, to be fair, I was just looking up Netscape browser on Wikipedia because I was actually going to go looking for which browser I was using on the Amiga at the time.
Yeah.
And officially, Netscape was discontinued in March of 2008.
Yeah.
So that's when they finally terminated it. Now, if you want to go find it, I'm sure you can somewhere.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it was a particular version as well that was needed. And again, it wasn't something that was available on any site that I could find. I went home that night at great risk to my own computer safety. And I did manage to find it at a rather questionable place. Let's just say I'm glad I had ad blockers at the time. Otherwise, the porn would have taken me to very, very weird places.
I would have taken you 2 days to close all the pop-ups.
Yeah, pretty much. So I showed up the next day with that on my USB drive. She goes, "Oh, where did you get it?" I just looked at her right in the eye and I went, "Don't ask, and don't ever ask me to do this again." And it was a couple years later the government finally joined the 21st century and allowed IE-related uploads with certain concessions
and problems.
Yeah, but yeah, that was my Netscape story.
It's okay. Funny enough, I actually did find the web browser that I was using way back when. A little something called iBrowse. Not with a lowercase I, it was capital I. But this was back on the Amiga when a graphical browser was a surprise at best. So yeah, that goes back a little ways now.
That's a browser Frida would have used.
Okay, I got nothing on that.
Oh,
the Mexican painter? No. Anyways,
Frida Kahlo.
Yes.
Again, Joey's showing that he knows a hell of a lot more stuff that he's ever let on for.
I'm a graphic design major. I would hope I know about Frida Kahlo, or as some people like to refer to her, Miss Unibrow. But I'm not judging. I think she was a fabulous woman.
Mexican, you say, huh?
I believe so.
Yes. With a unibrow. Okay. I was thinking Staten Island personally, but okay, it's fine. It's sure, whatever.
I should like pipe in the stereotype song in the background for this part of the show when I do this in post.
Yeah, you're not going to do that. You know it.
No, I know because
yes, born
William Johnson might come after me.
Frida Kahlo, born July 6, 1907, Coyoacan, Mexico City, Mexico.
So she's 06. So she's dead today. Is her age, right?
1954.
Okay.
July 13th. So precisely 1 week after her birthday.
Said there. Anyway, so we got about a half an hour to kill over here. All right, so the let me bring you guys all back over to your logical fallacy is, because there's a piece about that I want to make sure that we're all on board of.
Mine's the echo chamber.
Well, we're always in our own little echo chamber over here. It's just the way we're... Anyway, there are things that you can do that might be worthwhile. And reminding you, we don't see any money over here because we don't deal with money over here. Okay? Just so you know that. You can get a poster. You can get some nice size posters. You can get playing card versions too, where they've actually got all the stuff on playing cards. 54 of them, as a matter of fact. So keep that in mind, because they're fun to just kind of go through. Hold on a second. Here's your card. I can see that being a wonderful thing. But the list of items that they have on the website are some of the easiest ones to spot. And when I kind of go through one or two of them, just a couple of them real quick, because it's good to recognize these. The first one and the easiest one was the straw man. We hear this one used so often, and so few times do people actually call it out for what it is. Straw man, you know what it is that you believe in? Because if you're going to talk about all this stuff, you must believe in the universe created itself out of nothing. So you believe in a universe made from nothing. And you have to believe that because you believe in evolution. No.
It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And I was going to go down a different angle, but
there is absolutely no cognition going on there at all.
Yeah.
Just pattern matching.
And again, that whole programming thing, because you keep hitting the same nail.
It's more than just a concept. I'd call that a fact. And I mean, I wish more would look at it that way, because humans can be programmed too.
Yeah, there is that. Now there's another one that's on here that I think is actually kind of important to mention, even though it's going to sound like it's it shouldn't be a thing. It actually is, and this is the one that's the most fun for me. The fallacy.
Okay.
The fallacy is basically claiming that somebody made a logical fallacy just a distraction because there isn't a fallacy that was made. Basically trying to blow smoke up somebody else to say, you did something wrong there. That doesn't follow because it doesn't. No, I'm exactly right. I didn't make a mistake here. It's exactly the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, or also known as the fallacy of grasping at straws.
I think it should be the smokescreen fallacy, but sure, yeah, whatever. What was one of the other ones? We talked about No True Scotsman.
Echo chamber.
Not exactly.
Well, if you look at Trump, he's a perfect example of an echo chamber.
Yes, but that in and of itself is not the logical fallacy. However, there is one that goes along with that, where actually there's two of them. One of which is the appeal to authority. And I figure that's partially the one that you were might fit for what you're saying about, people all glomming onto him.
But authorities are the people that dictate the behavior we're supposed to imitate.
Funny enough. And the other one that kind of banders along with that one, and Tech, I'm pretty sure that the two of these together kind of fit what you're talking about there. Oh God, I forget what the Latin for it is, but basically the appeal to the populace.
Argumentum ad
populum.
Popularum. Popular. Yeah, popular.
Yep.
I never took Latin. Sorry.
It's all right. Loosely translated, it basically means the argument must be right because so many people follow it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I had a gentleman bring that up with me at work. He understands I'm an atheist. He respects that. And he was curious to know, not to try to dissuade me, but curious to know that as I became aware that I was atheistic, when I look back at how people throughout time, there were so many people who were willing to die for their faith, right? So many people who believed in their faith and everything else. How could I possibly look at that and go that there is no God if there's that many people willing to say, not only is there God, but I am willing to die for that belief? And that's basically
wait, Joseph, wait for him to finish.
And that's basically the fallacy right there, that just because thousands of people are willing to die for a dogma or ideology doesn't make it true. I mean, we have people who are willing to blow themselves up in this world to prove a point. And it's just like, you're proving a point that you're going to real extremes for what you believe, not that your belief is true.
I have an analogy that actually underlines what he's saying.
Go for it.
Is you know how Native Americans used to hunt buffalo, as they would pick the leaders of the pack, and they would start the herd running after these leaders. They get the leaders running. They run the whole herd off a cliff, and the ones at front, the others behind would follow because the ones at front were doing it, and that's it. And they'd all just end up.
And people, now you know how they used to tenderize meat back in the day.
But they didn't have to. That was the genius of it.
Yep. Bunch of lemmings.
Well, I really think, the hardest thing for people who actually think, the hardest thing for them to understand is that a good lot of the population doesn't think. And it's hard to put yourself in the place of someone who doesn't think once you learn how to. And I'm almost angry at myself for just spending so many fucking years believing almost as a religion that everybody can think, everybody can understand reason, everybody.
I went through 2 different religions. How do you think I feel?
Experienced.
Not in the right way.
I've had it for all of
down.
I was going to say well used, but
well, there's
I actually did feel like when I finally realized that I was atheistic and that I didn't have any belief, and I looked back on the things in my life and the opportunities that were missed in different aspects of my life and the decisions that I made because of the beliefs that I had at the time, I was really pissed off. But I wasn't pissed off at a non-existent God. I was pissed at myself for basically following the bandwagon.
And that's understandable. It's hard. It's hard from the inside of it all to realize that you've been manipulated all through because you don't have any external frame of reference to work off of to understand it.
Exactly.
Which is part of the whole thing about the echo chamber is that people will... It's like, okay, whatever you have to say, if it disagrees with my bias, I'm not going to listen to it. Just because for some people, it's a case of they don't want to acknowledge that they've been taken advantage of for such a long period of time. I mean, and imagine if I took to that minister that I talk to every once in a while. He's in his 70s. Imagine if I was to find a way to convince him to change his belief through logic and reasoning and everything else. And he reflected on everything he did in his life in the name of his religion. I have no idea what that would do to that guy.
See, that to me becomes the big point is, okay, so a lot of people, they like you said, Tech, you were pissed when you finally got out of it.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I don't go around trying to convince everybody that they shouldn't believe.
But like me, I wasn't really I didn't want to, bang my head against the wall when I finally woke up and realized it. It was just like, okay, the way I see it now is, what do I do differently today as an atheist that, from what I was doing back when I was a believer?
And that took me a little while to get to that point.
Yeah, but about the only thing I can think of is I went to church once in a while. I didn't treat anybody differently between when I was a believer versus now. I had gay friends when I was religious. I had black friends when I was religious. I had Muslim friends when I was religious.
So you weren't a true Christian.
Okay, yeah, someone could probably throw that Scotsman argument at me, but the simple fact is,
I said,
yeah, but it's what has changed about me? About the only thing is when someone like Peter Popoff says, I've got magic spring water and I saw that commercial yesterday in the daytime. Sorry.
No, it's I hear you.
Okay,
I'd say there's
Uncle Kage should be bowing down to that guy for being like a cockroach.
There's a huge difference between before and after, because, you know, like the Christian thou shalt not kill. When you transition to autonomous thought, you understand perfectly well why you shouldn't kill. You know, the bad effects on society, yourself, repercussions. You know, we're a social species. It's destructive and all that. You understand all that, but in the Christian mindset. But me too. I think I was thinking critically at a very young age, and I was brought up in a Christian, well, not really household, but anyways in tradition, because I was sent away to church. I just didn't have any other options. And, you know, when it came time to get out into the real world to see how things were, I just kind of discovered that there was a part of me that never really believed.
Yeah, I think the person that finally woke me up, believe it or not, was Cheska Shujin. She did a post on FA a while back, and I piped into it saying, "Oh, wait, I'm more of an agnostic." And oh my god, to quote somebody else, wrong A word. Holy crap!
I will go on record as saying that Cheska is my. She's my sister in arms. There's another time.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, she woke me up, or basically rattled my head matter a little bit, and I think that's where I kind of said, you know what, I need to think a little bit more about this, and don't know if I entirely agreed with everything she said. You know, it's like, how dare you tell me who I am? Like, sorry, somebody wants to slap a label on my head, I'm not going to take too kindly to it. I don't care who you say. I don't care what, even if I'm fighting for the same cause as you. Do not label me. Do not slap me into a box. Do not try to categorize who and what I am. You know, if
all they have.
I know, but if I'm going to be pigeonholed, I'm going to do it to myself, and I will tell you what I am, what I think, what I believe, and the many facets that make up this body. Yeah, don't. Do
you see what's going on here? Because you're talking about a communication between somebody able to assess a situation and somebody who can't. So somebody who can't is going to try to put everything into boxes, into their own programming, basically.
Yeah, because it fits their. It has to fit their model in order for them to reach that sort of level of comfort. You know. Yeah. Okay, so if you believe in this, then by default, you also believe this, that, and the other thing. Well, no, not exactly. Oh, well, then if you're not that, then you're this, that, and the other thing there.
Yeah.
Well,
and
no.
You know, going back to what Tech was saying earlier, you know, anything that doesn't match the programming or doesn't fit in the box, for somebody who adheres to that lifestyle, it can go as far. It's a threat for them, basically. And you know, what do people do in reaction to us? There's no limit to what the reaction could be to a threat. Well, it's a threat to their very existence sometimes. Yeah.
Like, well, and what a blow to the ego it is when you find out that you actually are wrong on something. You know, it's a humbling experience to not only be told you're wrong, but then to be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that you done fucked up.
I don't think that registers that part of it. I think the part about being shamed does, but I don't think the part about being wrong. I think only the shamed part registers.
Well, I think it's the shame and the humiliation. The fact that you're not as perfect as you think you are. You're not infallible.
You're not adhering to the model perfectly.
Yeah.
You know. So,
but instead of you seeing yourself as flawed, you can't see the fact that the model itself is actually flawed.
Exactly.
So I'm going to go ahead and basically wrap us up with one last item. And guys, I'm gonna have you guys kind of take a seat on this one so that Brigid and I can talk through this one briefly, because Brigid, this one actually ends up in your wheelhouse, and I'll show you exactly why. The last logical fallacy I wanted to hit very specifically for this reason is one that's called the appeal to emotion. The idea is that you put an argument that isn't out there with the idea of eliciting an emotional response, sometimes anger, sometimes disgust, sometimes fear or sympathy, in order to win an argument. And I wanted to pitch this one past you because this is one that can easily fall into the medical area. And I will pitch this one over to you to have you try to, from your medical expertise, because this one is one that I had to deal with on a personal level. The idea for instance, people who are in final terminal stages of cancer, grasping at any possible cure, and hearing that something like, very specifically, pomegranate juice could be used as a last-ditch effort, or oils of some kind, or any other snake oil, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And people will grasp onto whatever that emotional appeal would be in the hopes of,
buying some time because they're desperate, even though it won't work.
Now I'm using that one as a really bad example because it's not exactly in the realm, but you and I both know full well people who are in those stages of, especially for end of life, there are a lot of emotions to do anything possible to try to salvage out a life, even though everything says otherwise. I mean, you've probably seen exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, yeah, people with no hope of anything, as far as extending life, spending hundreds and thousands of dollars to try to buy time, and you see them die 3 or 4 days later, which is really sad. But there's another side to that, as far as trying to guilt people back into religion when they're on their deathbeds. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that angle or not, but
absolutely. I mean, that's
do you know what's going to happen to you after you die? And don't you need to get right with God because you just got a few hours left, and using fear that way.
Yep, which is a twofer right there. It's the appeal to emotion, as well as the Pascal's wager, all at the same time.
The bad one.
Yeah,
I think what was the who was it? The one who did that Texas television program that's still on the air.
You figure it out.
The gentleman who also was doing like Twitch gaming and such, but he's a prominent atheist. He did a remake of how Pascal's wager would actually be if on the Atheist Experience. He was a host of the Atheist Experience for a while.
The gamer.
Well, if you can find that particular, that would be great. I just want to rush this one along because we're kind of running out of time at the moment.
And there was one that I ran into on Facebook yesterday, which was kind of interesting. I mean, it was meant to be political, but it was also a medical thing. Someone had posted a picture of
Matt Dillahunty. Sorry.
No. Okay. But somebody had posted a picture of what was claimed to be fetuses that were found behind an abortion clinic that some man was washing and ritually burying. And it had a caption on there about these are the quote unquote pro-life libs here, and this is how much they value life, and blah, blah, blah. And the picture was legitimate, but it was several years old from Vietnam. Had nothing to do with anything here. But that was used to try to stoke anger and fear against supposed leftists for, I don't know, massively killing babies or something, and that they're being hypocrites for caring about other children.
Now, I also want to make sure that people understand that the appeal to emotion can be used in a helpful way for a discussion. And there are two of them that I want to, again, specifically pull you to, because you would full well understand this one. I have to imagine that you would remember the incredibly famous. Somebody put this in the show notes, the text, so I remember about this afterwards. The incredibly famous photo from the Vietnam War of the young girl naked running down the street after I forget if it was a napalm attack or whatever the hell it was.
It was napalm.
Okay, that is arguably one of the most famous wartime photos.
Mm-hmm.
And it elicited such an incredible emotional response. And that in and of itself would not be an argument for ending war, ending any kind of war efforts. But using it as a stepping stone to say, this is something that happens because of, can we talk about this outcome and talk further into what should and should not happen?
Oh, I mean, of course, on something like that, that does redefine the quote unquote rules of war and what is acceptable and what is not. And napalm is not acceptable, just like chemical weapons wouldn't be, mustard gas, things like that. You know, there are certain rules that people are supposed to abide by in wartime.
And the point of it is that I'm going with is you can't use the appeal to emotion on its own, but as a stepping stone tool, as a way of saying, look, yeah, we can't judge based on this, but this is part of the outcome. So we really need to kind of look at what's going on in addition to everything else. And that's why I wanted to use that one as a stepping stone for this last one. Using the appeal in the U.S. legislative branch, the recording of the kids that are being detained. And I say kids when I mean more like
infants,
toddlers, exactly, who are screaming in heart-wrenching distress. And they were using it in the chambers in order to make a point as to what's going on so that they can debate legislative pathways through. And being told, would you please turn that off? Please turn that off. That's distressing. And they didn't, for exactly that reason. And using that in and of itself to say this is wrong, in and of itself doesn't get you points, but it gets people to listen a little bit further. And I'm kind of wondering, is that just because of sympathy? For me, it would be enough.
Yeah. And it is a valid point. I don't think in that case it's being used as propaganda. It's just pointing out this is what is going on, and you need to be aware of it and consider what you're doing. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I was trying. I'm sorry. There was Katya had brought up a name earlier, and I wasn't sure who that was directed at. It wasn't at me, so sorry. I was trying to think of who it was that was in that photo earlier. In any case, I'll have to try to find that. To put that into the notes for everybody, but I know full well that one is probably one of the hardest ones to have to deal with, because it's not a traditional fallacy. It's emotional manipulation, which is I don't know any better way of wording it as well. In and of itself, it's kind of a dishonest tactic on its own.
Well, a lot of times it is. If say people are trying to make changes that they want and saying, but think of the children, when it actually has nothing at all to do with the children.
Yeah,
you hear that a lot.
I think.
As far as like movies or video games or anything, think of the children when they're trying to censor things. Yeah,
when it should really just come down to the actual data.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've only got a handful of moments over here before we have to close up shop, and I'm going to have to disappear a little bit early because I'm a little dragged. Was there any last item that any of you guys wanted to drop in that was kind of feel good enough for, or important enough at this point, or are we pretty well run the gambit?
I guess here I go shooting my mouth off again, but
I'll just dock your pay. Don't worry.
Yeah. We started the show off talking about, well, these guys did it, so what's wrong with us doing it? And I think one of the best things we could do to respond, like you said, the best response you've heard so far was, yeah, it was wrong back then too. But I think one of the better counters we should be saying is, we expected better. The mouthwash could go back and forth from one side of the mouth to the other, and one government can be just as corrupt as the one before it and claim that, well, the other one was just as bad, so what did you expect? Well, we expected better. We expected you to be better, so why can't you? What is stopping you from, like, it's either that, or you know what, both sides are just, one side is just as bad as the other, so why bother? Everybody talks about get out and vote, but if you're voting for this corrupt government versus this corrupt government, it comes down to the lesser of two evils. But the trouble is now the margin between the two is getting so close, you really can't tell anymore. It's one group of cronies versus another group of cronies. Either the Hatfields are going to get rich or the McCoys are going to get rich. But either way, you're still screwed.
And both of them taking advantage of non-critical thinkers.
Yeah, but those of us who do think critically are like, look, pal, we expected better. But unfortunately, these guys have no sense of shame.
Because the game's dishonest, so you've got two players playing a dishonest game.
Yeah.
Well, what argument can they have over the other? They can't. So the only result of that conflict is going to be violence.
Yeah. And in the end, it's still going to be dirty tricks, exploitation, and the same shit, just a different day. And it's terrible to think, but I've not seen any kind of icon on either side in all these years who is actually going to do something better, who's actually going to be that better leader for the government. Because, I mean, let's face it, they may be the leaders, but they can barely contain their own people. You know?
That's why for education. I mean, you know, autonomous thought, critical. I used to say critical thinking, but I think autonomous thought, it goes a bit beyond that.
Yeah. There's two things that came across over on the chat, and instead of me having any kind of last thoughts about it, I'm going to basically leave it to them. Stephanie had said Animal Farm. And the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear that is all animals are created equal, but some are more equal than others. That's the first thing that I think of. And that in and of itself is a really sobering thought, that people will accept that and expect it to be the way it should be. I don't personally, but I'm one of the weird ones. And Trippin had also said this, and Stephanie had a follow-up. Trippin said, because they work for us, and it's up to us to change it from the bottom up. It's just going to take time. Things are already changing.
Yeah, the trouble is, yeah, like I know I've heard the thing, you know, we may not see in our lifetime, but things are going to change. But it seems to me that the longer these ideal people are in the game, and by the time they get to a point where they actually can be a major point of influence, they're lost. You know, it's kind of just I'm really losing faith in the so-called free world's ability to govern itself. Like, it's to the point I don't trust anybody anymore.
I could understand that. But I'm not going to go any further into it all, except just to say that for what it's worth, I have voted every opportunity that I could since I've been able to, and I don't regret it in the least. But that's as far as that goes. And like I said, I'm not going to go ahead and pontificate any further because right now we don't need it. So thank you, everybody, for being part of this all. I hope that all of you taking a listen and watching have found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and got something interesting to think about at this point. So we'll just go ahead and thank everybody for showing up tonight. And thank you so much. So, Joseph, thank you very much for your time. And good luck with all the stuff that you've been working on, man. I saw some very snazzy picture of you from once upon a time ago. You look good.
Oh, yeah, that was from like 3 years ago. Yeah, Facebook has been serving. I wasn't very active on Facebook for a while, and all of a sudden it started serving up, what did they call it? Not nostalgia, memories or whatever, for this stuff from like years ago that I'd completely forgotten about. But I don't look at all like that now. No beard, no mustache.
That's okay. But still,
well, thanks for having me on, and glad I could make it this week.
No worries. Tech, think it's almost time for your nap time, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm getting exhausted. I mean, looking at Joey's hair, I can only do this for so long.
In that case, thanks ever so much.
Back the 80s for me, you know.
Not helping. He knows where you live within a certain blast radius. Do you really want to tempt him?
He's more than welcome to. You know, we've got military installations down here that I'm pretty sure can shoot most shit out of the air anyway.
Yeah, Joey, just to piss Tech off, get a mullet.
That wouldn't piss me off. He'd probably fit in with some of the people down here.
Yeah, Joey would have to change his name to Tino, and this would have to be called Mullet Talk for people
I'm going to withhold any commentary from my own self.
At least as far as that part is concerned. But otherwise, thank you very much for your time this morning, Joe. You take care of yourself, huh?
No promises.
None expected, as usual.
Hey, I built out my first RV, so.
What are you playing? That same space game that Shujin plays now?
No, I built out my first RV.
Oh, I thought you said Starbase. Man, I am tired.
No, my roommate purchased an old work van. I have converted said work van into an RV. Pretty much.
Even with all the stuff you were doing to like the floorboards and all that other fun stuff?
Insulation's in, floorboards are in, the frames for the bed and all the accoutrements are in.
Wow, cool.
They're actually kind of living out of it right now, and leeching off my extension cord and my Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi is the cheap one.
Not really, no. I don't pay utilities. They're included in my rent.
Oh, there you go.
Do you plan on putting in like the solar panel on the roof of the van or the RV?
Okay. With what we've spent already as far as plywood,
they pay for themselves,
all that stuff. Yeah, many months down the line, which we don't have that kind of capital.
If you build your own panels, they come out to be about $100 a panel.
Yeah.
And I don't have the resources to build my own panel.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Fair enough. Brigid?
I'm sorry, I'm not making a bazooka out of bamboo and a rock.
Not this week. Brigid, thank you very much for your time. You have
Get Captain Kirk, though.
Stop. Good night, hon.
Good night.
People that want to listen to her musings by reading it, you can go find her blog over at brigidfish2112.wordpress. Whatever the frick it is. Just hop in and find it. Fine. Are you happy now?
Yeah.
Bitch. Dalan, thank you very much for your time this morning. You have a good rest.
I plan to.
Don't make me do it to you too.
No, I know. Of course, the much maligned audio version of this show, I keep trying to get it going, but life gets in the way. But that's over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. My own musings on things that sometimes we touch on here, sometimes we don't. You'll find over at inthewind.yo5.ca.
And for those of you that are interested in catching up on Heretic Woman, go find her over on Facebook and see all the stuff that she's been doing. Because she ain't posting shit right now, because I don't know what the hell she's doing. Woman, what the hell is wrong with you? Let us know what the hell you're doing, would you? Please? Huh? A little bit? All right, fine, whatever.
Who, me?
No, monster under the bed.
It's a long story. Oh my goodness.
It's not all about you.
I know.
It's not all about you.
I'll tell you when we get up there. This is not good.
Fair enough. In the meantime, as was mentioned, if you want to check up all the social media links and follow us links and everything, it's over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. And if you'd like to leave us a voicemail message, I haven't really checked it recently. I really should. It's 859-HCTV-554. 859-4288-554. And as was mentioned at one point or other, sometime a long time ago, you can hit us at patreon.com/HCTV. Anything that you contribute is just going to go to server renewals. So anybody that's helped out, thank you. Appreciate it. We will be back again next week. Let me just double check. Next week. Yeah, hey, I just realized next week it's going to be Canada Day. So happy ahead of time Canada Day. You might be too drunk to join us then, Dalan.
Oh, come on. If I was that drunk, you know I'd be joining.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what? Maybe we should make it a drunk cast. Nah, we'll just drink a little bit. The last time I kind of drank way too much, it was a bad night.
Yeah, now I do have to go and get something for that.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since I don't drink anymore, maybe that night I'll drive.
Well, anyway, so yes, next week is going to be Canada Day, 1st of July. 1st of July. I didn't get that ST part out. Weekend after that, however, is going to be a little bit dicey. That's Anthrocon weekend. We're not quite sure what's going to be happening with that. We'll try to get you guys a little bit better information during next week's show. We'll kind of work it from there. All of you guys that have been over in the chat, by the way, thank you very much. Colleen, Stephanie, Trippin, Katya. Oh, and Roxy, who is over on the Discord server. Thank you guys very much. You take very good care of yourselves, and we really do appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We may not be making, triple digits anywhere, but it doesn't matter. We're doing it because we enjoy it. So you all take good care of yourselves, and we will see you soon. And I've been looking forward to it myself. Until the next time we get together, everyone, of course, as always, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And, of course, my lady. Matane Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till next week and the next time we get together, everyone. Good night.